spooky. Let's talk to a saint. Bonus episode of TaSTA where we talk to a saint. I can't pronounce half her name, so can you attempt it?
I just gotta go with the first bit of her name because I can't pronounce where she is. Actually, she wasn't from there. It's where she ended up, wasn't it? Saint Lutgarde, Lutgardis. If you want to look her up.
Okay, Saint Luftwaffe.
Saint Luftwaffe, Jesus.
Very different saint. That's a very different saint.
Instantly banned. Fucking Herman Hesse. Jesus Christ.
So what's her story and how did you find her? That would be probably.
So look, I have this thing on my Google Calendar, and I don't remember why I did it, but it has all the saints days. And I thought, okay, that might. I know why I did it because way back ages ago, before the pandemic, I think, I'd want to do a random knot thing with you on. I think it was Virgin Mary's her day.
Right. I remember that. Yeah.
I want to do a random knot thing with you where we go out looking for stuff connected with her. And then I wanted to do it with Nugan as well. But like because of the pandemic, it just kind of never happened. But I left it on my Google Docs. So I know like when I open Google Docs, it whoever's saint's day is there, you know. But I saw that like, I was kind of trying to think, right, maybe we should do something a bit different for a podcast this week, and I opened them up and there was nothing there for Tuesday or Wednesday. We usually do Wednesday, so there was nothing there for Wednesday, and I think, fucking hell, like, that's impossible. There's got to be a Saints Day. So after like a whole 30 seconds of Googling, I found this nice lady, and I did actually have to dig deep and kind of find her. I went on to those, like, you know those birthday websites, death websites, all that kind of stuff. Eventually I found one that, because she died on the 16th of June in 12 something or quite a long time ago. I don't have to have the internet here in front of me. I look at it. Oh no, there she is. I don't have her date. When was it? How does this website not give her time at the age?
Maybe they don't know. Maybe don't know. No, 1972. Derry.
Oh, it's ages ago. She was like the first. I know. I'll talk about that later. No, I gotta find this now. Hold on, give me a second. Did you read up on her at all?
I read some of it and then I went, no, I'll not try to preload and see. But I mean, it's still hard. I know most
there
of the
story. There it is. 1246 she died. Yeah, there was a website with quite a lot of information that I sent you.
Yeah.
Badly written. It's really annoying to read. So really fucking annoying. And so she had her first vision at like 12. She was sent off to a convent when she was young because her parents couldn't really afford her anymore. That's kind of the impression I got. And so they sent her off to a convent, and for the first couple of years she had a fancy boy who would come around and he liked her, and you know, kids obviously got married young back then. But I think he was kind of building up to pop the question, and she had this like huge vision of Christ who came to her and was like, he basically said, "Tell that fella to fuck off out of here, you're mine."
yeah. Get that chance
basically.
Ready.
So I've lost the page now. And so she had this vision of Jesus standing there in front of her saying this like, what was the words? Go away from me, wasn't it? Go away from me. Oh no, sorry. Yeah. Then she turned around to the boy and she said, "Go away from me, for I belong to another lover," which is interesting thing for a 12-year-old to say. But then after they kind of dedicated herself then to become a nun, and she did. And then throughout kind of her career, I suppose, as a nun, she had lots of mystic visions, and as she got older, she eventually started displaying one of the stigmata signs on her side with the spear.
Is she the first to have stigmata, or is it the first woman? I know
first female.
First female.
Woman. She was the first woman to show signs of stigmata. So there would have been, I think St. Francis would have been before her, wouldn't he? But there wouldn't have been many before her.
No.
You know?
Yeah, I think St. Francis is the first, isn't it? Like, that's kind of what.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
So like, but then like, there's the maddest vision of all she has is where she's sorry, it's the third part of a kind of visionary experience. So she had this she was in contact with Jesus, we'll say, you know, and she was part of a choir, so she would sing. but she didn't understand the Latin words and that she was singing. So like the Psalms and all that kind of stuff. So she asked Jesus to help her be good with Latin, and he said, "Yeah, all right, yeah, we can do that." And because that's what Jesus can do apparently.
Yeah.
And so then she was really good at Latin.
Did Jesus speak Latin? Is that his native language? I suggest not.
No,
Possibly.
it wouldn't have been. No, that's true. Jesus, yeah, it didn't stick out to me at all. No, Spudgy Big Aegis, yeah, obviously. But anyway, so she becomes really good at Latin, like, and she's able to speak it. She's even able to express her ideas in it, and like her Latin was muck before that, and but she's not happy, so she goes back into a trance or meditates on Jesus again, and she's like, "Can I give this back to you? I don't like it." And she's like, "No, this is what
I have a receipt. 30 days.
She's like, that's not really what I wanted. She's like, and so Jesus is like, okay, well then what do you want? And she says, I want your heart. And Jesus said, you want my heart? Well, I want your heart too. And then he puts his hand into his chest like the baddie in Indiana Jones and rips out his heart, puts it into hers, and takes hers and puts it into his. And like, that's pretty fucking mind blowing. And when I read that, I was like, we have to do this, Tommy.
So she's the first woman to have stigmata and the first official organ transplant. So this is what we're saying, is it? Right. So a lot of firsts for this. Yeah. And the very first organ transplant was a double organ transplant. That's very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah.
The first church-sanctioned organ or heart transplant, and like actual transplant, like of both.
Did she have to take medication after that to make sure that the body didn't reject the Sacred Heart? And I'm sure there's very specific medication for Sacred Hearts that you wouldn't have.
She's not going to like this if we keep making fun of her. No. What else happened with her? There was some cool stuff. Yeah, one day she went into the church. She had been sick and she was in bed with a fever. And she said, I can't go to choir practice. I'll get more sick in there because it's 2:00 in the morning and it's cold and crappy now. I'm not going. And then Jesus came to her and says, Get the fuck out of bed. What the hell are you doing? Get in there and sing for me, because you need to sing for the sins of the sinners, or do penance for the sinners. And so she kind of stumbles into the church and she's off her head with a her, and next thing Jesus drops one hand from the cross and gives
drops the hand. What?
That sounds bad. People outside of Ireland won't get that at all. No. And so Jesus drops the hand on her, and they cuddle post-coital in the church.
She's not talking to us. No way she's talking.
That was one. What else happened? She saw Saint John the Apostle came to her. Oh, she had this cool thing with purgatory as well. She would vision into purgatory. See, one of her main things was that she wanted to pray and help sinners, and from time to time Jesus would say, yeah, you're helping the sinners, please keep helping the sinners and keep praying for them, because you're helping. Because purgatory was such a fucking big thing in the church back then, and so she had this thing that she found herself in purgatory one time, and like the most recent Pope was there, Pope Innocent. She's like, what the hell are you doing here? and so he gave her 3 reasons, and she's like, okay, I'm going to pray for you. And then maybe he got out of it, I don't know. So that was another kind of cool thing. Yeah, the stigmata thing was that she would go into these kind of fits of ecstasy during her visions and stuff. And that's when she would show her this stigmata bruise on her side, and also a priest was hanging around with her trying to catch these bouts of stigmata, whatever, because she would say that like she had this thing and she would bleed from it, but her hair would also bleed. It was so intense that her hair would bleed, like fucked up, like. And so this priest would follow her around basically to try and catch this happening, and he caught it one time happening. But when he started to speak to her, the vision thing was gone, and he cut off a lock of her hair while she was in this kind of trancy blood orgy, whatever the fuck was going on, and cut a lock of her hair. But when she came back, when he spoke to her, she came out of it, and then the blood was gone and everything was back to normal. She used to fast a lot as well.
Intermittent fasting, I assume. She was, again, one of the first.
Just like you, Tommy. Just like
to
you.
do the intermittent fasting. Yeah. She would eat between 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock. 1,600 calories.
Three rounds of 7 years of fasting, where she would only.
Christ.
It's mad, isn't it? Where she would only live on bread and water, and in the last one she died.
bread, yeah. I could live on bread and water, butter, bit of cheese. I'm fasting, I'm not eating anything.
Totally
Toast and cheese, please. Yeah.
Subway sandwich.
yeah.
So yeah, she died on the last one, but not because of it. I think a couple of years before she died as well, she went blind, but she saw it as a gift from God, as a way to wean her away from the physical world, the material world. So,
right, okay.
Because by being blind, she'd get more used to what was going to come after. So there's another one as well. She ended up in Flanders. Sorry, no. She's a national saint for the people of Flanders, which is half of Belgium, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
as in Flanders Field, the famous.
Yeah. And she... towards the end of her kind of days, they wanted to make her an abbotess of some local nun factory, and she had a vision with Jesus.
Did you say nun factory? A nun factory,
yeah.
Right, okay.
What do they call it? Convent. And nun factory sounds nice.
Yeah.
And so Jesus came to her again and said, "No, don't want you going there. You have to go off to France because you don't speak French." Or to a French convent because you don't speak French, and it's going to be hard for you to communicate with people, which will give you more time to pray to me, basically. You know,
right.
She's not going to like us at all now for making fun of her. No, I mean, she seems quite an interesting life she had. Like she had this first mystical experience at 12 years where Jesus, was instructing her, no, you're not. That's not the life for you. Yours is a life of prayer and penance and oneness with God. This thing about the heart, I looked up that this has only happened to I think it's 4 or 5 other saints, and it's seen as this it's a little bit different than say what kind of we're more used to reading about in the Enlightenment, chasing junky stuff that we're doing. Yeah. Whereas that, so becoming one with Jesus and becoming one with God or Buddha or whoever, that's the Enlightenment. But this swapping of hearts, that's not the same thing. That's a commitment to that. I'm not explaining it properly. That's a commitment to that path and to seeing the world in that kind of way. And rather than being one with God, you're a very, very important part of it, which is a little bit different, not the same. Okay. It's not the individuation of Carl Jung and you becoming, the line between yin and yang, the balance. You're not that. You're devoting yourself to Jesus' way of life and his way of preaching and stuff like that. But obviously you can, put 2 and 2 together. Like during her time, purgatory was a big fucking deal. That's where people went when they died, So for her, she wanted to spend as much time as possible praying for people to get them up to heaven and get them out of purgatory. Because, it's gone. The purgatory's totally gone now. But it's not even gone that long ago. I was reading something about what's her name, Blavatsky.
Yeah, Helena Blavatsky.
Yeah, she had a whole realm, Karma something was called, and it was all about how long people will stay in this kind of limbo purgatory. And there's stuff like, she had this thing that let's say you're 20 and you're walking across the road and you get hit by a bus and you die. Well, actually, you were supposed to live to be 77, so you have to stay in purgatory for 57 years.
Ah, well, come on, that's not fair.
That's what they thought. That's what theosophists are supposed to go with, I don't know. Okay. Strange.
Well, I mean, I've no idea of the mechanics of how it works. Purgatory's gone within our lifetime. I think it was, or at least it was still the hangover from it. It was. Yeah.
Well, purgatory was around when I was going to mass anyway. You'd pray for the souls. That's one of the things you did, And now it's no. They're grand. Really? Okay.
I think there was the huge backlash, the unchristened babies that kind of got rid of purgatory in the end, because that was just seen as a very much a spiritual faux pas that God would put all these innocent, lovely babies.
Why would you do that? Like, that's so bizarre that people thought that, and like not you couldn't bury them in
graveyards, holy
consecrated graveyards. Just mental.
As if not the most traumatic thing that probably anyone's going through. Also, God hates you, baby, and doesn't want nothing to do with it. Jesus Christ. Literally,
crazy,
Jesus Christ. Come on.
Men should not be allowed to run things. You know? They really shouldn't.
That's such a man response to a baby's dead, isn't it? No, out of the graveyard. No chance.
Your fault. It's all your fault.
Your fault.
And no one loves you. You know? Fucking Jesus Christ. We're awful, so we are. Terrible. Worst things, you know. Women are way better and more good looking.
Yeah.
You know. Less iron though, for some reason.
Right. What are we doing? We're going to ask some questions. You have a list of questions, haven't you? Hold on until I open it up.
Yeah, look, we're not going to do this like the conjunction thing, though. I'm not going to get possessed here.
No.
I don't even know if
now, going to
put
a bag over your head. Duncan's always constant. Just put a bag in your head, will you? Put a bag in your head.
No, his last podcast has put me off that kind of stuff now, because it's like, freak me out a bit, you know.
I don't know. I think you should evoke Lucifer and then have him turn up at 3 o'clock for 3 weeks in your bedroom at night and just stare at you. I think that's something I'd recommend for everyone to do. Don't do that. Jesus, that was so weird. It was so weird. I'm sure I've told that on the podcast. I must have told that story in the podcast.
Oh, you have, yeah.
Yeah, that's all right then. It's not just random.
Everyone's like, what the hell is Tommy on about?
Yeah, for those who don't know, I evoked Lucifer, and then every night at 3 o'clock for about 3 weeks, there was something in my room. Woke me up. It was very strange. It wasn't nice. But, if you're going to do things, do you expect things to happen? You know, I mean, what was I expecting? It's like that Arrested Development thing. I'm not really sure what I was expecting. You know what? Okay. Anyway,
right. So what we do? So I wrote out some questions, and I gave them to Tommy last night. So I think way to do it is Tommy asked the questions to me. I'll draw cards. And then Tommy interprets them because he knows what he's doing. There might be some that might have to do some bibliomancy, you were saying, because they're a bit too open or something. Yeah. Do you have questions as well?
No. Well, I was going to interject, and if there's something come up, kind of be more. I'm going to try not to piss off the spirit this time, and be. Okay. You know,
that might be a good idea.
I might just see how that goes. That might be fun. Has she a prayer?
Which one? Do you want no, there's the only one I could find is just far too long for a podcast.
Right, hold on. Is there a prayer to the Sacred Heart? That might be one to do.
Okay, yeah, you can do that.
Yeah. There's bound to be a Sacred Heart. Prayer to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. Okay. It's not that long, but we'll do it, okay? Okay. Oh Lord Jesus Christ, to your most sacred heart I confide this intention to speak to Saint... What's her name? Lutgarde. Only look upon me and Spud, then do what your love inspires. Let your sacred heart decide. I count on you, I trust in you, I throw myself on your mercy. Lord Jesus, you will not fail me. Sacred Heart of Jesus, I trust in you. Sacred Heart of Jesus, I believe in your love for me. Sacred Heart of Jesus, your kingdom come. Sacred Heart of Jesus, I have asked you for many favours, but I earnestly implore this one. Take it, place it in your open heart. When the Eternal Father looks upon it, he will see it covered with your precious blood. It will no longer be my prayer, but yours, Jesus, Sacred Heart of Jesus. I place all trust in you. Let me not be disappointed. Amen. Okay.
Amen. All right.
Okay.
Do you want me to do 3 cards for each, or 1, or?
No, start with 1 and see how that goes, and see if we're getting.
Okay.
Then we can.
Well, look, I'm going to do what you do at the start of your readings and make sure we get a good card for the start. So let's have a look, Tommy.
The Dead, perfect. What more could you want? The Dead, perfect. Talking to
you recording this? You doing a video for this?
We'll see.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Okay, so
that's a good card. Thank you.
Yeah, perfect.
Lutgarde.
Saint Lutgarde, Jesus gave you his heart in exchange for your own. How can the rest of us be given Jesus' love? Is it possible that this is also a thing that we could do, or what's your thoughts around that?
What'll I go? 1, 2, or 3?
Go 2. 2 feels right.
two.
The mother. Okay.
I'm not going to shuffle again. Just go with it.
And the protector. Okay, so the mother would suggest that around, because the motherly love is seeing the whole idea of doing it, like that kind of. It's basically, I suppose, compared to the father, which the father's allowing you to have the difficulties in your life, but being there for you, but not kind of, not keeping you away from the fire where you burn your hand, where the mother kind of does that. Oh, is this more than it's a protective love, which is interesting because the protector then came with it as well. So it's the idea of that to meditate on that kind of type of love, which is that kind of energy of a protective, almost motherly love, and that in some way that will bring you closer to it. That's the kind of meditation aspect of it. So I would read that.
That's interesting. So the compassionate love is the way to choose
the compassion, this ultimate compassion and protection. Which I mean, that's kind of, at least my sense of the Jesus thing is, until you read the Bible, and then it's very different, But it's that.
But like
the Sacred Heart, like that heart, the love, all that stuff.
What's funny, or maybe not funny, but what's interesting is that, back in her day, she died in 1246. Their idea of Jesus would have been fairly different than ours.
I suspect
he wasn't
so,
as. He wouldn't have been the lovey-dovey kind of 70s hippie that we kind of
probably not blonde
see him as,
and white and blue-eyed.
I know, he most definitely would have been blonde and blue-eyed back in her day, man. Interesting. So, just be nice. Compassionate. Right, how many cards for the next one? Yeah, tell me the cards first before the question, actually.
Right, one card for this.
I think that feels better. One, okay.
Yeah. So, this question, Saint Lutgarde, have you any advice for us to Egypt's being an Irish word for, I guess, gentle idiots. Trying our best. The protector. That's always odd, isn't it, that when things come up twice. So yeah, to just be safe, and I suppose don't invoke Lucifer. Yeah, it's protection. So the advice is to probably be a bit more aware of protection around us rather than being a bit haphazard and going for it, whatever. That's always good advice anyway. But that's I'll take that on board. That's because that's
that one
not
just jumped out at me there.
And the Syria,
it fell.
Yeah, your intuition around it. So it's because I was going to say it's not the first time recently that someone said protecting to me, and there is a kind of a feeling that there is a need. So yeah. So I mean, and you take that on board too, Spud. Let's possibly not just totally chaos magic all of these things too, and nothing can harm me. It's, yeah, big things in the universe that might be able to harm us. Okay. Yeah. That's good advice. Okay, so for this one, I'd say we'll try bibliomancy with this one because it just to shake it up a wee bit.
Okay.
Okay. The book you have chosen is
the only screenplay I have is Waiting for Godot by Samuel Beckett.
I like screenplays and plays because it's people talking, so rather than like if you pull out a book and it goes and the hill was green and you go it's that. But at least it's talking. So.
And plus, it's kind of it is religious, isn't it?
Yeah,
Waiting for Godot, Fucking love Waiting for Godot. It's mental.
So the question is, you were big on fasting. Why?
First thing I see here. Well, the first thing was a bit of stage direction. The sound of Lucky. Do you want sound direction?
Just go whatever.
Or stage direction? Just go with it. The sound of Lucky falling with his baggage is heard off. Vladimir and Estragon turn and look off, stage left. Divided between the wish to go to Lucky's assistance and the fear of not minding their own business. Vladimir takes a step towards exit left. Estragon holds him back by his sleeves.
Well, I mean, the whole idea of falling luggage and thing would be, to get rid of, baggage and stuff like that, and there's a kind of sense of that, someone doing it, and then someone trying to come to the rescue or seeing it or something. So if you put it, why would she be needed to try? And I mean, the obvious kind of thing of to try and release baggage and get closer to Jesus, in the hope that by doing so we get his attention. That's one way of looking at it.
My mind is blown that you got that from that. To be honest. That's brilliant. Well done, Tommy. No, good. No, it's very good. It fits. It's that's mad. I'm a bit like, It's like when lads do the Magia bot, and something like really profound fucking comes up for the question, and you're like, how? How?
We go with 2 cards for this.
Okay.
With the possibility of maybe a clarification card if it's needed. So, St. Lutgarde, I'm going with that as your pronunciation from now on. Do you have any message for the people of the world today? Or people of now? The media.
One fell out of me.
The lovers. Okay, this would suggest to me that it's a warning that we have fallen too much into an easy pace with what we're being told by the media and or the stories we tell each other. Because of course, like, the media is about public relations and about what the stories we tell and how we're seen and all of that kind of thing. And the lovers is the after the kind of the lust or whatever. It's the comfortableness within a relationship. It's the easy feeling where the kind of the high energy of it is gone and you're in this kind of groove, and it's a good thing mostly, but I suppose in regard to this, it's just a warning of being aware that we're in a very comfortable relationship with the stories that the society as a whole, and particularly being that I suppose it's so prevalent that the media is saying, and just to be aware of that. That's interesting. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
To just
But should already give them
to not be so enamored by the stories we're telling ourselves right now.
Do you want another one maybe for
Yeah, so how to deal with that then? Well, the carnal, so it's self-love, and it's about I suppose taking your personal power back. I know the carnal is very much a physical thing as well, but it can also have a kind of an emotional element of feeling good about yourself. So again, return from what the story we're telling and the thing to a more how do you feel about yourself, and if it's and tell yourself a better story and about
so kind of like, don't believe the bullshit you think about yourself and know thyself.
Yes, but in an extent, don't believe the bullshit we are telling about ourselves.
Yeah, we're telling ourselves.
And have a more self, in a positive sense, a more self-centered view on things, not in a selfish way, but in a kind of, don't get lost in the bigger story, and go back to your own thing. Yeah, that's how I would read it.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll go with just one card. This is a double question, so we'll go for one card each on these, because the first one is basically a yes or no, and the other one, yeah. So, you prayed for a lot of people in purgatory. Once you saw Pope Innocent there in a vision. So we've 2 questions. In the modern world, purgatory isn't taught anymore, but does it still exist? The healer. I'm going to suggest that would mean it would, because if the whole idea of purgatory is a place that you go to prepare or to, in some way purify yourself to get somewhere else, then the idea of a purgatory being a healer, that would be a healing type thing. So rather than a punishment type thing, it would be seen as there could possibly a place that when you die, that you have to in some way, which we know, like it's not just there's plenty of spiritual kind of things would say that there's a place where you kind of, have a life recap, or you in some way look at things you've done to yourself and other people, and you try and learn before you move on. So there's kind of an element of healing. So rather than a punishment, or rather than a place where there is a healing element that after you die, that where you refine yourself, or your inner being, your soul, whatever words you want to use for that. So who among the dead should we pray for? That's I don't know. Well, the moon, right? Okay. The thing around the day or the moon is to do with there's a thing of hope and this kind of thing where it's the light and the darkness and shining light on the dark areas of things. The hope in a kind of a negative sense, that it's a hope that leads you to have things that. If you didn't have hope, then you wouldn't have your hope denied or your hope crushed, whatever. So there's a double-edged sword to it. But it's kind of that would say, like, be aware of the hopeless, the people who you would feel that aren't ever going to be prayed for. Like the bad people, like not just the good people, the hopeless, shining the light in the darkness. So looking to the dark areas, the dead people, the forgotten, the nasty, your horrible relatives that no one's going to be praying for, whatever. They're the people who we should be praying for, because no one's praying for them. There's no, they're in a sense lost souls because they've been shunned, forgotten. So the hopeless and those in the dark. And I suppose like this is me talking around the cards, a general for all those hopeless and in the dark. It doesn't have to be a specific.
You don't even have to be dead.
Yeah, dead on the inside. Right, we'll go for a bibliomancy in this one. You were the first woman to show signs of stigmata. You had a wound on your side and would sweat blood when undergoing a vision. Why do you think you developed stigmata?
It's inevitable, says Estragon. Page 15. That's the first thing I can see.
Yeah, can't deny. But there you go. That's an inevitable part of who you are, and think. There you go. That's. You're not getting a better answer than that.
Fair enough.
Okay. An Irish saint, Saint Osmana, came to you in a vision, and you asked her to appear to somebody else. Why? One card, I would say, and see how that goes. Okay, the road opener. Yeah, so
fuck off! I know the answer to this one. Jesus
right,
Christ, that's fucked up.
Right, well, go for it.
That's fucking mad. So, Saint Osmana is a funny one because not like really, really, very, very little is known about her, other than she was she left Ireland kind of not under protest, but to run away from her father was some Irish king, and he was going to marry her off to someone, and she said no. I'm out of here, and she moved off to France and lived in a forest for a while. Eventually she was found by some Christians, and she converted to Christianity, and she was such a good Christian that she eventually became a saint. So there was some weird kind of paranormal stuff happening around this area that Saint Lutgarde was in at the time, and no one knew.
Yeah.
Nobody not know it. Fucking speaking like her now. No one could put their finger on why any of this paranormal stuff was happening. So she would get into her meditation and her trances and her visions, and this Saint Osmana came to her, made herself known to Lutgarde, but she was kind of smart enough to say, look, no one's going to believe me because no one knows who you are or why you're here. Can you please appear to the local priest as well? And she did.
Okay. Right.
So I would see that as going to the gate opener, going to the priest.
The road opener, yeah, going to the thing that'll be
unblock
the way. Yeah, unblock the way. Yeah, that's very cool.
That's fucking mad, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, so the road opener would be because it was more likely that it would free on the blockage in that way, and that she wasn't. Yeah. Okay. We go with bibliomancy in this one because it's a funny old question. You're a national symbol for the Flanders. Excuse me while I cough. Will Belgium win the Euros this summer?
It's always at nightfall. Okay.
It's in the dark, so that would mean it's in the dark. That it's unknown at this point. Yeah.
Unless the match is on at like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. If it's a nighttime match, then Belgium will win.
Right? If it's a nighttime match and Belgium get to the final, don't put your mortgage on it, right?
Yeah. All your Bitcoin straight onto it.
Put a fiver on it. And see what happens. And dedicate the money to Saint Lutgarde. That was quite successful, Tommy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think.
So we just can we do a final card just to say have you any final closing thoughts that you would like to share?
Yeah, thanks for being with us, Saint Lutgarde. This was fun. This one's jumping out at me here.
The witch. So the final thing is just magic, man. Keep to the magic. Be aware of the weird and the mystical, and open yourself up for these occurrences. I suppose, like she would be saying, well, she had them, so these things are possible. So, which is always a good sign of a remembrance of to acknowledge the magic. That's how I always see her, anyway. So when it comes up in a reading, that was really cool. I enjoyed that. Thank you very much.
Cool. Bye. Thank you.
Yeah. You have your license to depart, and if at some stage we would like to call in again, we'd like if you would come. But for now, go wherever you are and be wherever you used to be, and be well, and may your name and your fame be known by all, and may you not be forgotten. Cool.
Amen, brother.
Clap. Nah, that's your banishment. And then the laugh at it. It seems ridiculous to laugh, or to banish with laughter after you've been talking to someone. It's like you go into their house and then you hear a load of laughter. Yeah. What are they laughing at? Well, because I left. Yeah.
That was fun. We should do that more often. Well, maybe not more often, because then it get boring. But I don't know. I'll do it once a month, once every 6 weeks or something. For the
yeah, I suppose if there's a decent kind of people, because I often wonder about like that kind of like the cartomancy when it comes to that kind of thing. That I wondered how effective it'll be, but it seemed fairly effective. But I think being able to switch it then between the other things, it was quite fun as well. That it gives it a bit more of a place to open up. Cool.
Grand.
Yeah.
Right, then, go look up St. Lutgarde and learn a bit about her.
I'll put the links in the show description. So yeah, we can call these the TaSTA rituals and have them as bonus episodes. Right. Bye.
See you, Tommy. Adios. Bon voyage, I should say.